NFL sports fans, Trey Gibson here with, of course, another broadcast from BTFL. We're going to talk about three teams in this episode. Let's get right to it. Okay, what do we have here right off the press? We got, we did Legends, we did the Passer. Next up, the number 10th place team is Team Stanevivch. As we take a look and see what's going on in the Stanevivch camp right now, you know this team actually didn't have a bad draft. They're just a result of bad coaching, which means at the end, you get a bad record. Let's look and see what they had. They had Brett Favre. Did good in the first half. Joseph Adai, he got hurt a lot, but still wasn't a bad pick. Jarius Norwood, wasn't a bad pick. Roddy White, wasn't a bad pick. Steve Smith, probably a bad pick. I'm not big on Steve Smith. Santana Moss, wasn't a good pick. How many touchdowns did their quarterbacks throw? Tony Gonzalez, last year, led tight ends in touchdowns, wasn't a bad pick. Titans defense did pretty good. Nick Folk, Dallas kicker, did pretty good. Where he really hurt was Willie Parker and his missed games on the bench. That was probably subjective, or the reason why he only had 3 wins all year long. And then you look who was next. Torrey Holt didn't have one of his great years that he usually has. Still made spectacular catches though, but you don't get any points for a spectacular catch. You only get points that get you points. Sean Alexander, boy, that was a good pick, huh? Greg Olsen, tight end out of Chicago, had a real good year last year, but didn't come on strong like they expected him to throughout the whole year. Because of Brett Favre's problems that he had, you know, he had to go ahead and get Kerry Collins as a backup quarterback. Kerry Collins was safe, but he wasn't a great pick. Seattle's defense, I dropped them, or they were dropped by the Gibsonians, and we all know what kind of year they had. So let's just say Stanevivch's team, you know, they could be on the chopping block for the coach. Unfortunately, they had a lot of injuries, and it showed in their record. They was 3-9. They're 3-9. They finished 10 overall. Okay, let's take a look at the number 9 team. And this actually surprised me that this team finished number 9. It was actually the Detroit Super Geniuses. You know, and it's been a couple of years now that we've been doing these broadcasts. It's been a couple of years that this team has been in the league, and they actually haven't produced like I'm sure ownership thought they would. So if there's a team at the start of the season that is on the hot seat, I would say, or if there's a coach, I would say it is Coach Dave Jones of the Detroit Super Geniuses. He seems to be no genius. Every year he puts together probabilities and statistics and differential equations on other teams, and it just doesn't pan out right. To me, he seems to be the Rich Kotite of the Big Things Football League. You know, let's look and see what he had working for him. You know, Jake Delhomme, boy, what did he get you? 15 touchdowns? Darren Sproles is a good pick. I can agree with Darren Sproles. He was very productive in the kicking game and spelling LT. Dominic Rhodes coming back to Indianapolis. I can't agree with it. I know why you did it, but can't agree with it. Jonathan Stewart was a great pick. He actually produced very well as a rookie. Expect him to be a keeper. Calvin Johnson actually stepped up against the Gibsonians with a 99.9 yard touchdown reception and an 89.9 yard touchdown reception and a 95 yard touchdown reception at the end of the game. That actually helped him beat the Gibsonians. Keep in mind, they played a team without a quarterback. Eddie Royal from Denver did pretty good as a rookie. Chris Cooley, I guess if you got to pick a tight end, you got to pick a tight end, right? How many touchdown passes did that quarterback throw? Steelers defense did pretty good for him. So as we're looking at the starting slots, just what was the problem? You know, he still had Marion Barber. Braylon Edwards showed up some of the time. Santonio Holmes didn't show up until the Super Bowl. David Gerard. Who do you want for your quarterback, David Gerard or Jake Delhomme? That'll get you to thinking. Donnie Avery, St. Louis wide receiver, and pretty much that's why the super geniuses are not geniuses. That's why they should be in summer school. Let's look forward at, like I said, we're going to do 3 teams today. The team that I felt every team feared before the playoffs, probably at about week 5, every team feared this team. Team had a great draft, but unfortunately, you know, when you're the coach, you've got to keep this machine well oiled on all sides. You got to keep this thing moving forward. You got to stay humble and look and be focused for the next week. And unfortunately, that didn't happen with the Chicago Dream Killers. It seemed like, you know, every time something works good for Coach Bell, he tries to tweak it and ends up breaking it. I know they went out in the first round, and it actually, you know, but when you put this team together and the way he was picking teams and working, you know, he had Drew Brees, Peyton Hillis, the running back who filled in for Denver. Ricky Williams didn't produce touchdowns, but he produced. Ted Ginn Jr. didn't produce touchdowns, but he produced. Terrell Owens produced. Anthony Gonzalez produced. Kellen Winslow produced. You follow me? The Eagles defense produced. Neil Rackers produced. So why is this team at number 8? Because they got tweaked a little bit in the playoffs. You know, even if you're looking at the bench, these are 2 great quarterbacks with Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. Reggie Bush, oh my goodness. This team is dangerous when you look at them on paper. Still had Patriots defense, Felix Jones, Kevin Boss, and Justin Gage probably wasn't a big player, but this team is complete. This is a complete team. This is what you're looking for. So the only thing that you could actually want to go forward with and saying is, how do you put the right pieces to the puzzle come game day? That obviously did not happen, and that's why this team went out at number 8. You know, and hey, something to look forward to, something to get you back on track, you know. And that's why, you know, we are who we are. This is a very tough league. You know, once again, I'm Trey Gibson. This is Big Things Fantasy Football, and we're talking about, once again, how your team could be better and what you need to do to get your team on track. Who do we got coming up next in the next broadcast? We're looking at West Coast Riders and the West Up Go Getters. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode. I'm Trey Gibson. This is Big Things Fantasy Football. Get your team ready because we're ready.